Hello, folks. This is Brother Chris. I want to come to you today talking about tithes and offerings. Uh, a lot of pastors today uh, and a lot of saints today think tithes and offerings is necessary, and that you ought to give the pastor or whoever's presiding over you 10%. Uh, uh, a lot of pastors go back to the verse Malachi 3:10 when they talk about bring their tithes to the storehouse, whether it be food in my house or whether it be meat in my house in some interpretations. Um, and and they also, will a man rob God? And it's when I studied up on that, for my understanding, that that was for Israel and the Levitical priesthood, and we are no longer under that commandment, that law. For the simple fact, here in the New Testament, which we live in the New Testament, um, they have pastors, they have apostles, and have prophets and teachers and preachers. We don't have priests, and we're not. There are no Levitical priests here today. From my studying, that was for the Levitical priesthood, and they gave a tenth of food, not money. And I had one young lady came to me and said, "Well, back then it was food, but now it's money." And I'm thinking to myself, "Well, they had money back then." You know, uh, it didn't say money. Bring your tithes to the storehouse, whether it be meat in my house, whether it be food in my house. It was a tenth of what they grew. It didn't say money. But a lot of ministries today, they want to push it towards money. A lot of pastors today wants to push it towards money, and that wasn't the case. Um, there's only one high priest, and that's Jesus Christ, and that's the only priest we under. But today, the church today is apostles, preachers, and pastors and prophets. There's no priest. So do I think tithing is necessary? No. Am I against tithing? No. I'm not against tithing. You know what I'm saying? A person that tithes, I'm not against it because they're doing it unto God. And I'm not gonna stop a person from doing something unto God. I'm not gonna stop that. Uh, you think do I think tithing is gonna give a person some type of special favor financially? No, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, God shows no respect to person. You know what I'm saying? Just because you can't expect some type of favoritism from God. You know what I'm saying? He shows no respect to person. So the verses financially the verses that I usually go by when it comes to giving is what the Apostle Paul says. Those who sow sparingly reap sparingly, and those who sow bountifully reap bountifully. You know what I'm saying? It's simple as that. If you sow sparingly, you're gonna reap sparingly. If you sow bountifully, you're gonna reap bountifully. It's simple as that. You know. Now, When I say uh, tithing is not required, by no means am I letting anybody else off the hook, because it may be some days or it may be some time where God requires more than 10%. So by no means is God letting us off the hook. You get what I'm saying? Uh, like I just said earlier, those who sow sparingly will reap sparingly; those who sow bountifully will reap bountifully. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes God wants your best. He wants your best. He just don't want 10%. He wants your best. And you know, when the people, the Israelites, when they sacrificed an animal, they sacrificed the best they had. They didn't sacrifice, an animal that was just 10% healthy. They sacrificed the best, the beautifulest, the fattest calves they had. They sacrificed it, the best they had. And I believe that's what God wants out of us. Not just 10%, but he wants the best, our best. Christ says, love thy God with all thy heart and all thy might and all thy soul. Not 10% of our heart and our soul. And, also love your neighbor like you love yourself. So that sounds like a whole lot more than 10% to me. Well, folks, that's all I got today. Um, study up on this and study up on it, read it, and let me know what you think about it. All right.